Welcome everyone to episode 85 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. And this episode is brought to you by EJ Cards. And I do believe they have a trade day coming up.
That is correct, my friend.
Our lovely sponsor. You can find them at Shop 3, 2-4 Whitehorse Road in Blackburn. Yeah, their May 2023 trade day. Some giveaways, snacks and drinks as always. And plenty of bargains to be had, I'm sure.
That's May the 28th. And they've dialed up a heap of stuff. So they're giving snacks away. They've got some drinks there for everyone. Pokemon packs. Yep. NBA, NFL, mega mystery boxes. And also, it's mostly aimed at doing card trades, and they've got people doing supervision of the trades too, so kids can have a fair go of doing that, which I think is a really, really good idea. So you can sort of go into a safe space, like that's probably not the right word, is it? But you can go into a place where you know you're not going to get ripped off, and I think that's like a really good place to start, because sometimes it's really hard to get your head around what a card's worth or what it's not worth.
Yeah. And additionally, if your kids are giving you the irrits, you can try and trade them away at that 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. time slot.
For a mystery box. That sounds like a pretty good deal, actually.
Where are the kids? Swapped them for repacks. I'm really sorry. Oh boy. But yeah, get along. It should be a really, really good day.
Alrighty, let's get straight into it. NBA draft lottery. Who are the winners?
It's that time of the year already. It's like we're not even at the NBA, like the finals. And I guess it's...
I think part of it is because we were playing catch-up from COVID, right? So it does feel a little bit compressed. I think after this year, I think that's it. We're going to be back to a normal schedule.
Normal scheduling, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the lottery. It's not the draft itself.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, we know this draft is stacked at the top. There's a lot of speculation over one particular player, but the balls were thrown into the machine.
Yeah.
Every team had their odds and chances of winning the stakes, but one team in particular jumped. And I definitely would say that biggest shock for me was Portland.
Yeah, really? Okay. Yeah.
They bumped up to 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was that took me by surprise at the expense of a couple of unfortunate teams, I guess.
So, sticking with Portland for a second, they've already publicly stated they're going to trade the pick to build a contender.
Okay.
And who do you think would be a good fit for Portland in a perfect world, if the third pick is worth as much as they're saying?
Do you think they'll get value for it? Like, the question is, what piece needs to go with Lillard? Are they still trying to build something around Damian Lillard, or is that ship sailed? Is it no longer Dame time?
He's still a talented guy, and I think he's probably a little bit past his prime, but still enough to play well. But my thing about Portland is I've actually been saying they should have blown it up even 2 years ago.
Yeah, they keep seeming like they do try to blow it up, except they keep Dame. which is the final piece of blowing it up, right?
When he was on Instagram talking to the guys on the Lakers team, I thought that was actually him being traded to the Lakers, honestly. So I was shocked that he was back with Portland this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Every now and then he gives these cryptic tweets and like it's just this random stuff. It's just, I don't know.
He also seems very committed to them and also like almost critical of people, asking for help. But when they drafted Shaedon Sharpe, for me, that was almost a sign that they were going to reload and, start again. But now they...
Agreed.
So I don't know. I think if they trade this one pick, they have to trade other pieces to get veterans in, because even if you add a really good veteran, I don't think that's going to be enough to get them over the top.
Yep.
The one that I was playing around with on the trade machine was Zach LaVine, and that actually does work. But I don't know how good the trade machine was, because it showed Cam Reddish is having a $14 million cap hold, which whether that will actually work.
I don't know. There's some weird contracts that have been going around. Who knows?
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think that's a massive win for that team. And even though I don't think the Hornets are that happy about getting the second pick, I think they're the big winners, because they were pretty bad last year. And I think them adding another piece of talent to that team is going to be really important for them. And the Scoot pick it'd be interesting to see if they put Scoot and LaMelo in the same backcourt, but I would really like to see that happen because I think the way that the league is going now, having two ball handlers, two decision makers, two guys who are quite dynamic with the ball, that actually, to me, is like where the league is going. Like the Kyrie, Luka pairing, I like that a lot. And then,
that was a match made in heaven. You can see how Dallas ended up this year. It's Kyrie's fault. Don't worry, I'm not criticizing there.
Look, I might be wrong about this, and it's not the way the league's going, but at the same time,
oh look, I just think Kyrie and Luka are just a match made in hell. But that's just because I've got down. I'm not high on Kyrie.
Yeah,
I feel like he's a home wrecker. Anyway.
And I don't want to sound spiteful to the Houston Rockets, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad they dropped because I think what they did last year was just abysmal.
It's going to be great when James Harden's back there. Yeah,
I don't know about that. I think him becoming a free agent is more leverage or creating leverage as opposed to him genuinely wanting to leave. I'm very unconvinced of that, and particularly now that Doc got fired.
Yeah, true. Well, that's just the trend, isn't it? You get to the pointy end of the season and you get fired.
How many good coaches are out there now, though?
Yep. Monty Williams.
Like a good time to fire coaches. Yeah,
I cannot believe they sacked Bud
in Philadelphia would be awesome. Yeah. So, look, the speculation in Houston is that the Kevin Porter Jr. experiment's going to be over. So I think, card-wise, where does that put Kevin Porter? I don't think that he's been going for crazy prices. So even if he does get traded and he's out of the starting lineup...
Do you think it's a wait and hold, though? As far as... Do you know what I mean? Like, certain players that end up out of favour when they're sort of still in their young years, I guess.
I think if you're investing into Kevin Porter, you're doing it in the hope that he would explode. So I think you just hold and still hope for the best. But
cross your fingers and all the rest of it, yeah.
Well, if you look at the NBA landscape at the moment, how many teams want to put Kevin Porter Jr. as their starting point guard? If Houston doesn't, I would say not one. So for me, that experiment's over.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one, and
if Scoot does drop, to Houston, I think that would be it for him 100%. So, and for me, the winner is Charlotte, Portland. I really like that. And then, can we start talking about San Antonio now? Are you ready for that?
Am I ready? No, I still want to know who you trading the third pick for. Because I can't think of anyone to match with Dame.
Well, Zach LaVine was the one that I put
the
into
only
the
one
and build a trade around that, and
I
don't mind that actually. Because
do you know what I reckon? You know what I reckon it is? Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Just need another big. Wemby's like a freak, so and they didn't get him.
My theory around the Bulls is actually that would also apply to the Wolves too, because they gave up so much for Nikola Vucevic, and obviously the Wolves gave up 10 times too much what they gave up for Gobert. So I think those two teams will be looking to recoup draft assets. So Portland coming in would be quite convenient, actually.
Yeah, interesting. But yes, you're right. The biggest winner of this draft lottery, as we've been calling it all year, it's the Wembanyama stakes, and the Spurs are the big winners.
Yeah. So do you believe in conspiracy theories and ping pong balls and all of the rest?
I love a good conspiracy theory, and let's dive. Let's go to dig the rabbit hole open and see where it leads.
There's always been conspiracy theories, going back to like the Knicks draft, that there was a frozen envelope and that's how they knew the right one to pull out and all that type of stuff. So, why can't they? I mean, we've all seen it in like the movies, how there's like metallic balls and all that type of stuff. Why can't they do it again? It's possible. The thing I disagree with what people saying is, the Spurs always win. They've also lost the last few years.
They've been woeful.
They haven't done that well, and they also haven't done that well in terms of like ping pong balls. So I do agree there's a bit of a coincidence there that they won the draft lottery with Duncan. Now they're doing it again. But I personally like this a lot. I think that, my theory about this, the situation does matter. And I think this is a beautiful situation for this kid. And my only concern about this is that he'll be immediately compared to Duncan, and he won't deliver the same amount of statistics, but also the impact on the court. And I think the message that I would like to get out there is we need to remember that Duncan played 4 years in college. So realistically, we need to check back in 3 years, because that's when the equivalent time would be that he's actually had to get, repetitions of basketball, because he hasn't had that 4 years in college. He's had 1 year as a professional.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you need to really temper your expectations of how he's going to perform at a professional level, and also the physicality. It's clearly he's going to take at least 4 or 5 years to build his body up. He looks
Yeah. It's
underfed. Yeah.
underfed. Yeah. I worry because you know how the hype train starts so early these days.
And the hype train is all aboard for this kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is all aboard.
Like, I remember the hype for Zion. There's always this sort of momentum that's gained leading up to the lottery, to the draft. But yeah, Wembanyama, it's been scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could be a little premature. There we go.
So let's talk hype. If you go to eBay sold listings, some of these cards, which frankly I don't even know where they're coming from, they look like replica 1986 Fleer cards. They're selling for 56 USD, 54 USD, 56 again, 72 for this one.
And these are what? Unauthorized cards.
Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea what they are, but more to the point, if that's what those type of cards are going for,
yeah,
when the pro cards finally do come out, what on earth are they going to be going for? And look, don't get me wrong. I think it's fantastic for people to be excited and interested and showing enthusiasm towards cards. So I'm definitely not poo-pooing these people at all.
Yeah.
But I will definitely say, what have we learned from the last couple of years? Be careful of the hype. The other thing too, I think what I've taken away from the last couple of years is zig when people are zagging. So if everyone's putting all of their money and attention into Victor, okay, fine. So what's now going for unders because everyone's putting their money into other places? Is Cade going to be a good buy? Is Ja Morant going to be a really good buy in the next 6 months to 12 months?
What about but what about from this draft? But you know what I mean? Like, do you go into? I suppose
Scoot Henderson going to be a good buy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When you're looking at, so it's such a polarizing draft in that everybody is focused on one player. Yeah. So where's the value? Is the follow-up question. I guess for the listeners out there that are wanting to get on board this incredibly full hype train.
Yeah.
What do? Do you pay outrageous prices early? Do you jump in breaks and hope for the best? Like, what would you do if you wanted to try and rip a Wemby?
Look, I'm very reluctant to jump in when the hype is that high, unless it's someone that I love, if that makes sense. So, like, the example I would give for this is when it was Zion and Ja, I was buying a lot more Ja than Zion because I just felt I couldn't really justify that spend.
Yeah.
And I thought for the price point at the time, probably Ja was a bit better of a buy. And we all know how that's sort of washed out now, but that's not what I had in my mind at the time. It was just more, I just felt like that was a price point. So maybe the example of that this year is that, you might think that Brandon Miller is giving you really good value and actually you're going to jump in, But so I think I just want to go into the tweet that we found this week. So we found this tweet, and this is completely unsubstantiated, but at the same time, that also makes it, 10 times more fun to speculate on. And this is from Mr. Leonard Kim, or at Mr. Leonard Kim. Yesterday, I learned Victor Wembanyama signed an exclusive deal with Fanatics, so no Panini products will have his auto in next year's set. Unhappy face. And then he tagged in at card purchaser. So what does that mean for me is that it's just like the Ben Simmons situation all over again. It's LeBron James being with Upper Deck when we've had Panini the last 10 years. And then if we want to fast forward into the next, say, 5 to 10 years. So as far as I'm aware, Luka Doncic is exclusive to... So let me just speculate on this just for 2 seconds.
Yeah, go for it.
If Wembanyama is going to be exclusive to Fanatics, that means he's not going to have autographs in Panini. And we all agree that everyone is going to be chasing his cards. Is it then a good time, if you're zigging when people are zagging, is Luka Doncic autographs going to be a good buy because moving into the future, his autographs aren't going to be in products the same way that LeBron isn't currently in Panini.
It's interesting because what's the length of Luka's deal? Do you know what I mean?
I haven't looked that up, but generally, if they're exclusive, they're like a lifetime deal.
It just seems because there'd have to be a clause in it that if Panini are no longer the main brand, that Luka will have the option to jump ship, so to speak.
Well, I think it depends the way they play the cards. So, for example, like LeBron is still in cards in Upper Deck, and so is Jordan, but they're in jerseys that look like they bought them in Kmart as opposed to an NBA jersey, right? Yeah. So, I suppose what's been going through my mind is, I would love to have a Victor card. That would be lovely. But what's been moving up my list at the moment is a Luka autograph, because if you can get them at the moment and they're relatively readily available, and people aren't really focusing on this so much, and then they do become a bit scarcer as the product moves forward. Is that going to be a good long-term purchase?
Well, it's interesting. I'm going to stick with the hype train analogy.
Yeah, I know. Let's go back to the hype train, because that's what we were talking about, right?
We're on the hype train, and this is like an express train. This is express to the league. Everyone's on board, and you've just waited at the station. Go, I'll get the next one. And there's this empty train with Luka Doncic on board, and you're like, I'm just going to buy some Lukas. Just sit down, have a casual chat with him. He stops all stations, and you're like, you know what? Let's get to enjoy the ride. Yeah. I don't mind the zig or the zag when everyone zigs. I really don't mind that view. It's interesting because we've talked about so much downturn in the market that there's so many opportunities. The question is where people's prospecting heads, because you're saying this kid's been hyped so much. I'm just going to go to. He's all like Luka's almost at vet stage now because he's been in the league over 5 years, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, you know what? There's too much hype going on with these young players. I want to go for someone that's sort of in a bit of a rut, but on the veteran side of things, rather than further prospecting. It was just it's an interesting, and I know it's due to the licensing, but it's interesting to look at. Yeah, Wemby signing exclusive, the parallel with Luka.
Look, maybe we need to do more research on this. Who else is exclusive to Panini?
Yeah,
because surely they've stitched up a few dudes the last few years. I would be shocked if he's the only.
There's got to be something in the Fanatics. There's got to be something in the Fanatics paperwork.
I don't think these guys play nice, man.
I still reckon it's on the table that Fanatics buy out Panini. But anyway,
okay.
I still think there's more plays, but yeah, that's right.
That. Look, so just for the record, brother, I would love if Fanatics did do that, and I would also love if they. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. I would love if they bought an Upper Deck too. Can you imagine if we had like Jordan, LeBron,
if everyone was in the same blanket umbrella of
flawless? How sick would that be?
You mean the greatest players in the world were in the greatest product in the world? What are you talking about? That'd be what?
That'd be delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Final thoughts on that, fella?
Well, the I know it's very limited product, but did you see the card that
sorry.
that Wembanyama signed and was it Instagram or Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Whereas like literally, this is the first card I signed.
Yeah. Awesome.
How much is that card going to be worth? Because that's going into production, right? He's not keeping it.
I would assume it's going to go into a pack, yeah.
Person that pulls
I
that.
would say at least 3x what his other autographs are going for.
Because that card has historic value if his career trajectory goes the way it is. It's projected.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Like, can you imagine being the owner of the first card this kid signed?
Yeah.
Even if LeBron had put up something on Instagram going, "This is my first card," and it was numbered 73 of 199.
Yeah.
That card alone, that's the first card he signed. Got to be worth an absolute mint if he has that kind of career. If he ends up like Anthony Bennett, it's probably not.
What's the probability he ends up like Anthony Bennett, though?
I won't be the super troll and go Anthony Bennett, but what happens if he's a Zion? Zion came in with so much hype, and at the moment, the hype wasn't real because he keeps getting injured.
Look, I'm really curious to see where it does go in the next 12 months, because we have just come out of this crazy, period, and have people learnt from that or not? And will the market, go back up again? Because I think if we're all being honest, at the back of everyone's mind, it would be nice if it did go back up to that, right? Because
look, I think we're in a lull at the moment. I genuinely don't think we're
No, I don't think it will go back. You know what I'm trying to say, though. Like, it's more of a fantasy. That would be nice to go back up, but
I just don't think it's going to be in the pit, in the gutter forever.
No, I don't think it's in the gutter now, man. I think some of the prices that cards sell for these days are still the hundreds of thousands, and even up to. So I don't think we're in the gutter, but I do think that people are going to be a bit more cautious, and maybe, dare I say, it's sensible.
I think the market correction is still evolving, and we're in the brave new world that we get to enjoy our hobby in. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
let's talk Ja Morant.
This poor kid. I am. Oh, where is the tweet? Was it a tweet or was it what? JJ Redick. Like, are we going to crucify this kid like day in day out? Like, I feel the media are making the problem worse.
So should we discuss what his recent controversy involved?
It's very similar to other controversies.
So he did an Instagram live video, and he was holding an automatic weapon. And I think the optics of that, after his recent incident where he then went on TV and he apologized, and he went to counseling, and he did all that type of stuff, it gave off the impression that was insincere, and that perhaps he didn't mean what he said, or perhaps he wasn't sorry at all. And for me, so this is my speculation, and I've got nothing to support this. But I do wonder if he's perhaps using an unauthorized substance, and he might have been slightly high at the time. And he just thought it was like a funny or like a good thing to do. And because if we're being honest, he won't be the first player that has used a controlled substance in the past.
It's true. That's true. I feel like I know, I get it. He's got publicists. He knows he's a public figure, but he's in his early 20s. Like,
but
he's young.
The way he was behaving on that video, that was, for me, that was more than just I'm
stupidity.
That looked to me like enhanced by something else.
Altered mental state. Is that what we'll go with?
Or enhanced.
Enhanced. He's a bit off the reservation.
So let's tie this into what our show is about, which is about cards and card values. So the last month he's down 47%. So he, at the start of the month, he was at 750. He's currently at 392, which actually is the lowest. If you are then trending backwards, that 350 price, sorry, that's for a silver PSA 10. I don't think that there's been a lower price for that for more than 2 years, or actually of all time.
He is at an all-time low. He is.
So now let's do that sort of exercise of buy, hold, sell. At what point does this card become a no-brainer that you pick one up, considering the fact that they were at the all-time high is 4,500? Would you buy one tomorrow
at that price?
At $390 US. It's getting juicy, man.
It is getting very juicy.
Like, I'm kind of sitting here going like, I'm, he's been a bad boy, but it's not basketball related.
It's tough.
It's almost 10 times down.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy. And I don't have a horse in this race because mine's a PSA 9, but I tell you what, it's getting to that point where you look at his performance on the court and you go, I know there's indiscretion off the court. But on the court, he's worth more than this. Like, everyone has seen him ball out. He needs to show more in the playoffs. Just gonna add that little caveat. But
definitely.
But
look, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying, but
No.
there's also a point too when you are speculating on, high end potential and.
Do you know we're falling off the edge of a cliff, right? So this is the
Sure.
playoffs. We're
Sure.
ready for that. You know that period of the year where the playoffs are over, like the NBA finals play out, and then we have the draft, and then we have like preset, and prices just dwindle.
Yeah, definitely. And
Like,
he might go down more. So this.
That's
might
what
go
I'm
to
like. I'm
300.
like, this might be 300 US.
It's possible. I wouldn't rule that out, man.
And at 300 US, do you say no? Do you know what I mean?
So,
Memphis makes a couple of moves in the offseason and you go, they're going to be good next year. A Jar's going to be a crucial piece of that.
So I suppose is the play you just start bidding on cards and you put in a bid of 300 and hope one falls into your lap. Is that the play?
Yeah. Just put him on your alerts and get in there. It's definitely too late to sell if you bought it earlier in the year.
So I put these a little bit in the same as the Zion camp, where if you weren't buying Zion and you weren't into basketball cards and now you want to get out, I'm using air quotes as I'm saying that, I still think some of these are going to come up for sale, even if the market does like even drop a bit more, because I think they were the type of people that were doing it as like a high risk investment to diversify their portfolio, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
they weren't the collectors, and I think they will flip out.
Yeah, so, for sure. It's,
look, actually, my feeling is it is going to go down a bit more. The only thing is it'll be like what happened to Cade a while back. It got to a point where it hit the bottom, and then actually it's like rebounded quite a bit already. So
look, I definitely think there is going to be an uptake when Jar starts playing again.
Yeah,
but Jar's not going to start playing again for another 5 months.
Yeah, that's right.
And if this is the most recent thing that we've got to go on, interesting.
Yeah.
Stop doing stupid stuff, Jar. Please. Get yourself right. Use those 5 months to go to rehab. It's
a shame. It really is a shame, what's happened to him.
No, you've been given you've got such a gift, and he's been given such an opportunity to play at the highest of levels. And I know that it's very different life when you're sort of living that life. But come on, like there are the memes online saying that his apology was written by ChatGPT. there's the 8 Mile rap battle version. Gone. He thinks he's a gangster. Like come on. He was raised by both parents. Like, it's not. You didn't have this like gangster had to live on this life on the streets. You went to private school and stop pretending to be a gangster. And just because you've got enough money to obtain guns, stop it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's such a crazy situation, isn't it?
Yeah. Because he's such an amazing talent.
Yeah.
Like the kid can ball.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
just disappointing.
Let's segue into our next athlete we want to talk about, which is Andre Iguodala.
Beautiful.
And really, we just want to pay respects to Iggy because he's announced his retirement this year. So congratulations on a fantastic career.
Yeah.
I loved his game. I love that sort of cerebral, all-round play where you can do a bit of everything, rebound, shoot, pass, defend. That is definitely my cup of tea. And his resume is significant.
It is. Yeah, no doubt.
4-time NBA champion, 1-time finals MVP, 7 finals appearances, 1-time All-Star, 2-time All-Defensive, and the Olympic gold medal as the cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that finals MVP, questionable. Anyway.
Do you want to discuss that now? I mean,
it's an interesting one. I think it's interesting that in the LeBron era, there are 2 times that arguably LeBron was probably the hot favorite for finals MVP, and the person guarding LeBron is the one that got finals MVP because they lost.
So my take on that was that he wasn't even the best player on that team. I personally think Steph Curry should have got that. And also, when you talk about the most valuable, I think for me, I find the argument very difficult that you could argue it's not Steph Curry.
Well, if you let LeBron off the chain and you don't have Andre Iguodala, you lose.
So off air, you were talking about that. You were saying that LeBron should have got the MVP in a losing situation.
Yep.
I I probably prefer to give it to somebody on the winning team just because I think the winner should get the spoils, and it's almost like a consolation prize if you give it to the losing people. So
True.
look, if LeBron had got it, I probably wouldn't have. I would have less argument about LeBron getting than Iguodala. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like the voters were a bit either spiteful of not giving it to Steph, or they went way too deep into like the analytics about
how well he
and
did
all that kind of
against
stuff,
LeBron, yeah.
which all those statistics weren't publicly available at that time. So how they made that argument, for me, again, I struggle with that. In saying all of that, it is on his resume, and so you have to give him kudos for it. And you know what I mean? Like that's kind of it.
Yeah. But
so,
four championships, like he's it's no slouch.
He's a winner. Yeah. So
is,
actually, card letter data on this guy is not extensive. The only thing I could find is 2007 Exquisite.
Yeah.
And that last sold for 550 USD. It's numbered to 50. It's a patch and on-card autograph. It is actually, I think the design of it more looks like something out of Immaculate.
Yeah.
But I think the modern comparison for that really is flawless. So that's the type of card that it is. Now, so at that price, 550, if we're doing a wrong but modern comp, Ja Morant is currently sitting at about 400. So in terms of pricing of that, again, we're not comparing apples to oranges, so please don't lampoon me in comments, lads. But I think that's very appropriately priced.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with that being 550 with his resume. I suppose the speculative question is, do you think that's going to trickle up over the years, Ad?
I do. I think it's an interesting spot hobby-wise because Iguodala was early career, was sort of like the number one guy.
Well, he played with Iverson at the start, so he was. They almost brought him in there as a point forward. That was my recollection.
Yeah, but he was like a top guy. He was always a starter, and I think when he came to Golden State, and accepted a role on the bench, that's when respect for him just went through the roof.
Okay.
I was
going to say that's when he became a champion because I think
because he was prepared to do what it took, and that's what it took for him to become an NBA champion.
Yeah.
And he didn't let ego get in the way, and he's won a Finals MVP, so it's not like he's not that caliber of basketball.
Yeah, it's not that he wasn't successful. And he was,
and there were you're right, he did start there, but he was he was one of the top guys early career. But he was. I think he accepted he was a top player, but not a superstar. Hence the lack of All-Star appearances. But I think he found his spot, and I think it was in Golden State. And I think he, as far as a hard-working player, Andre Iguodala is the epitome of what a hard-working NBA player can achieve.
Yeah.
So card-wise, I don't know how that really translates. In a positive sense.
Do you think he'll make it to the Hall of Fame?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So this is my issue at the moment. I actually don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But if the new standard is that Ben Wallace is in the Hall of Fame, then Iguodala arguably has a better resume than Ben Wallace.
True.
For me, the Hall of Fame is someone like Steph Curry, maybe Klay Thompson, Kevin Garnett.
I thought you were about to say Kevin Looney then.
Maybe Paul Pierce. Do you know what I mean?
There's a certain level, right?
Yeah. But in saying that, if I do one day decide to do a Hall of Fame chase, and I have to chase one of his cards, I'm not going to be sad about it. I love his game.
No, he's definitely
awesome guy. Fantastic. So I'm definitely not going to kick off about that.
Yeah. If you've got a nice Iggy, it'd be nice to sort of hold on to. Let's
final thoughts on Iggy.
Iggy, what a career. Just what a career. A brain, a student of the game. You always saw him there courtside, even through that last series against the Lakers. Just talking. He was talking to Steve Kerr the whole way. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's the last we've seen from Iguodala. I think he may actually throw his hat in the ring at some point.
Be a coach or
as a coach
or office guy or something like that. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
I think he is a very passionate man about the game of basketball, and he lived and he breathed the game. So hats off to a great career in 19 fantastic years, and well deserved the accolades.
Yeah. The next topic is the Miami Heat.
Oh, wow.
I think this is a team that I've personally slept on all year,
Yep.
and it's at the point now where I just can't ignore them anymore. So we have to give them some airtime. We did a social media post on Jimmy Butler in the last week or so.
Yep.
And didn't get a lot of response from that, but it has given me some time to sort of process and digest and sort of think about Jimmy Butler as a card and what do we think about him. So his last PSA 10 actually sold for a lot. So it sold for $898. Now the thing that is really interesting for me is actually 2 points. The population on that is incredibly low, so it's 21.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of these cards out there. The other really interesting thing is the card letter value. So card letter actually puts this at 1,200. And it's, for me, very, very rare to see a small variance in it, but to see a significantly large variance with that. Do you believe in the AI? Do you believe in the technology? And is this actually pointing out to you an absolute steal of a card at the moment where it's basically unders by $400?
It's yes. There's no ifs, buts, maybes.
Really?
Like, he is criminally underrated.
Okay. Do you think that if you had $1,000 US to spend, this is the number one card on your list to chase at the moment? Is that how far would you go with that recommendation?
Oh, how undervalued? I think it's criminally undervalued.
Yeah.
Do I think it'll stay there? That depends on.
Where does this card go in the next 2 years? Up or down?
Ask me again in 2 months.
Yeah.
In a month, sorry, after the NBA Finals.
I
have the Miami Heat sweeping. I have the Miami Heat sweeping the Boston Celtics and then losing to the Nuggets. In which case, I don't think it goes through the roof. If Miami win the championship from the 8th seed after almost being eliminated, and this is the man that's responsible for it, that 1,500 is where his rookie PSA is silver goes in the next year. Like he needs to win at the end, and he has been nothing short of amazing this playoffs. So yeah, I know. It's interesting.
So I think for me, this is a card that is going to be a good buy in the long term. So you're not looking the ups and downs on this card, week in and week out. Like if you're buying this, you're putting it away for 20 years, and I think at this particular price, this is a good time to buy it because it is down a bit. And as Card Ladder's pointed out, they've got it undervalued, and the population on this card is incredibly low. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So I think this year that the Heat are playing really, really well. And for me, the obvious thing that's like showing its head at the moment is the coaching differential. Like Spoelstra is literally wrapping up the entire Boston Celtics coaching string, and they got their hands tied. He is just an amazing coach. For me, that's the difference in the series at the moment. Of course, the players on the court matter a lot, but would I be surprised if the Boston Celtics come back and win this series? I wouldn't be shocked because actually I think there's more talent on the Boston team than the Miami team. And then if Miami does get through to the finals, I don't like them against the Nuggets. I'm assuming. I'm assuming the Nuggets are going to beat the Lakers. Sorry, Ad.
No. The Nuggets are currently up 3-0. So I think the Lakers had their shot 3 days ago against the Nuggets. Murray took over in the fourth quarter of that.
Yeah,
and that was it. That is lights out for the Lakers. And then
he's been amazing. Yeah. Anyway, segueing back to
Jimmy.
So I think there's going to be a lot of problems with him getting a championship, and I also would say too, it's just so hard to win a championship.
Correct.
And I think that's okay. But in saying all of that, do I expect massive spikes out of this card? I actually don't. But at the same time, I think with the price drop and the low pop, I think this is a very, very good long-term purchase. So I would put this at a buy. Would I put this at the top of your buy list? Absolutely not.
No. But, if you can pick it up for less than $1,000, you're probably going to make a couple of bucks.
This is niche. This is something that is probably more for collectors who love this guy. And if you collect this guy, do I think this is a good purchase? Yes, I think this is a fantastic purchase.
If you're a Heat fan, Jimmy is someone you want in your collection for great Heat players. Simple as that.
Yeah, or if you like Bulls because he was drafted by the Bulls.
drafted by the Bulls.
Awesome PC piece. Who else has caught your eye? on the Miami Heat?
On the Heat, no one really. But
Really? Okay.
Once again, I've only watched limited Heat basketball in the playoffs.
Okay,
But
okay.
I just see Jimmy, and it's just he is willing them to win.
So I love the Miami Heat because I love basketball because you can play it in a million different ways.
Yep.
You can roll out 100 teams and they'll play basketball in all different ways. You know, I love the Denver Nuggets this year.
Yeah.
The way they play through the Joker. You know, I love the Bucks because they play in that sort of totalitarian and everyone chips in, but they've still got this amazing dude in the middle, which is Giannis. You know, I love that. I love the motion offense and the shooting with the Warriors, you know.
Sure.
And I love the Heat. I love this environment that they've created and how they've got all these undrafted guys on the team. They come in and they play hard. And I love Cody Martin. So Cody Martin for me has been the massive eye catcher for me because he's this kid that, like, who cares? It's Cody Martin, you know, and he's coming in and he's playing these minutes. So he last sold for $13 USD for a silver PSA 10. You know, do I think this is going to go to $100, $150? No, I don't think that's going to happen. If you love Cody Martin, you need to go out and buy his cards. You know, it's just a good buy. And do I think it could go up? Absolutely, I do. You know, I think the way that he's been playing, I think other teams are going to covet him, and I think they're going to target him, and he's going to be someone that people will chase. He is a pro, and he belongs in this league. It's a bit like Terrence Mann. You watch him play, you know the kid should be in the league, and he's probably going to be there for 10 more years.
He belongs, yeah.
And then the other obvious one too is Bam Adebayo. You know, Bam.
He needs more offense in his game.
Yeah.
That's probably that's my only criticism. And if that happens, he's still very young.
Yeah.
I actually think he's an interesting one.
Yeah. Look, he's definitely one to watch. Look, without stating the obvious, clearly Jimmy Butler is the number one.
Yep.
But for me, with a bullet, the number two is Bam. And
yes, for sure.
He has a lot of potential because he can do so much all over the court. And as you pointed out, he's still pretty young. 2017 rookie, so he has been in the league for a little while, but you know, that's totally fine. Silver PSA 10 last sold for $90. I think that is a very, very reasonable price for somebody of that skill set.
Of that caliber.
Of that caliber and of that performance. So
who's another comp that's similar with Bam?
So probably the other one would be Jarrett Allen because a big guy has been in an all-star team, you know, is on some good teams. Oh, God. Jarrett Allen silver last sold for $33.
I would have said Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go with Jaren Jackson, sure.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Because he's only really stood up as like a defensive. All right. Jaren Jackson Jr.
So they're actually quite close together. So last sold for 50,
51.
but he's been very much up and down, sort of floating between that 100.
Yeah, you go back a couple of
90,
months. Go back a month before Memphis was out of the league
80,
when he won the title. He was around that $80 to $100 mark. Yeah.
So would you prefer to buy a Jaren Jackson Jr. or a Bam Adebayo?
Bam, because I think Triple J's hit his ceiling with his defensive stuff.
Yeah.
That's when he hit the peak at 110. I think Bam's got a ways to go. I think Bam, if he finds more offense in his game, becomes more rounded, and I think that $150 mark is not unobtainable as far as his card value goes.
Yeah, okay.
I think, but he needs to take a step. Like he's positioned himself well. He's sort of shown he has potential. I think he needs to. Yeah, I definitely think he needs to take it to another level.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of Bam, and I would actually like to sell that, and I would like to buy a Triple J.
Wow.
Well, and probably because I'll say at the moment, I think Bam is, you know, in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Probably
if Miami,
I
was going to say Miami. Right?
And I think at the moment, Triple J is probably going to slide a little bit more. And I don't know. I like both of their games, but I've got a very soft spot for Triple J. I must admit that. That's just my own bias, I suppose. So
you know, you're going to start getting like messages on the Facebook group, people just trying to trade the Bams that you've got for Triple J.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do some trades. That'll be quite nice.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Let's go to the what is it? The trade day Are you going to be able to make it along next Sunday?
It's in the diary. Sunday? I've got permission from the boss. I'm good to go.
I might be there towards the end of the day. I'm trying to see.
It's actually quite a long day, so yeah.
I might be able to make it for the grand finale, but
I've got some stuff on sort of at lunchtime, so I'm going to head down afterwards. So.
Sweet. Well, we'll do our best to get down there. Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening, and yes, we'll see you again or speak to you again very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.